In this lecture, I am going to tell you how we can create custom directives in Angular and how we can use the directives in our Angular applications. What are directives? Directives are classes that add additional behavior to elements in our Angular applications. There are three types of directives available in Angular, which are structural directives, attribute directives, and component directives. Structural directives are directives which change the DOM layout by adding and removing DOM element. In Angular, there are some inbuilt structural directives available, which are ngIf, ngFor, and ngSwitch. I already discussed about that in previous lectures. You can watch that videos which are included in this Angular tutorial series. Now, what is attribute directives? Attribute directives are a number of built-in directives that we add to our HTML elements that give them a dynamic behavior. In Angular, there are some inbuilt attribute directives available, which are ngStyle, ngClass. I already discussed about that during Angular data binding video. You can watch that video, which is included in this Angular tutorial series. Now, what is component directive? Component directive is used to specify the HTML templates. It has structured design and the working pattern of how the component should be processed, instantiated, and used at runtime. This is the most commonly used directives in any Angular project. Now, I will tell you how we can create custom directives in Angular. We can create custom directives by running ngg for generate and then directive and then our directive name. I am going to create the directive under shared folder, under directives folder, and the directive name will be change color and border. Hit enter. This will create a new TS file under app shared and directives folder, and this will also update our app module.ts file. This will import our change color and border directive here, and this will be inside our ng modules declaration array. So any custom directives should be inside our ng modules declaration array. Now let's open our directive class. Here you can see the selector name here, and this is an attribute selector. Okay, now we can get the element where we are going to add this directive in the constructor. Let's store it to a variable called el, and this will be type of element ref, and I will implement onInit method, and I will add ng onInit method here, and then what I will do, I will add some color to the text. Let's say this dot element dot native element. This will get the native element from this element. Okay, and let's say we want to add some style, right? So let's say this dot element dot native element dot style dot color. So we can add any style properties here. Okay, so right now I am adding some hardcoded style color here, say red, and now it's time to use these custom directives to our HTML elements. So let's open our postlist.component.html file. Here you can see I added these styles here with this hard-coded value. So instead of this style, what I will do, I will add these custom directives to this element. Okay, and now I will refresh the browser, and you see the color of the text of this category is changed to red because I added the hard-coded color here, right? So if we need to make it dynamic, then how we will do it? For that, what we need to do, we need to get the value with the help of input decorator. So let's add input decorator here, and this will be default color, and for now let's say this will be black. Okay, BLACK, black. Now instead of this hard-coded color, I will provide the dynamic color here. And now, okay, this will be this dot default color. Now we need to provide this default color dynamically from the element, right? So how we can pass the default color? To pass the default color in this way. So let's say default color for this technology category will be blue, and for this science category the default color will be, let's say, green, and default color will be black. Now if I refresh our browser, we'll see the color for the technology category will be blue, and for the science category this will be green, and for the default color this is black. So this is how we can pass dynamic value to our custom attribute. Okay, so let's open our class file, and if we want to add some style, some other style, like let's say if we want to add background color, yes, we can do it. So if we want to add some background color, we can do it for these styles. So this dot element dot native element dot style dot background color, and let's add some background color here, let's say gray. Okay, I'm adding this hard coded, and refresh the browser, you see the background color is changed to gray. Okay, so I'm not going to add the background color hard coded, I'll add this dynamically. So this will be default background color. So default background color will be white, and if we pass it dynamically, then this will be dynamic. Okay, so let's say for our case the default background color will be, let's say, light gray. Okay, light gray. So we need to pass it for the every element. If we do not pass it for the every element, let's say, what is the effect? You see, we are not passing the default background color for every element, that's why it is affecting for the first element. Yes, we can also do it, but if we want to make it dynamic for all the element, you can pass it for the all element. Okay, refresh it, you see the background color is changing for all element. Better if we take some other background color, let's say this is the background color, so we can pass it from here. Where is our, yeah, here is the element. Now refresh the browser, you see background color is affecting. Now let's say we want to add some padding, or let's say some padding, right, to the element. So we can add the padding also. Let's say the padding will be 0 pixel for the top, or 2 pixel from the top and bottom, and 4 pixel from the right and left. And I'm going to add some border radius also. Let's say border radius 5 or 8 pixel. Save the file and refresh the browser. I think there are some border radius. Yeah, there are some border radius, so you can see it. Okay, that is good. Now what if we want to listen some post element events, like if we hover on the elements, or if we enter the mouse on that element, then if we need to listen to that event, then how we will achieve this? So we can achieve this with the help of host listener. So what I will do, I will add host listener here, host listener, and inside this host listener I need to provide the event. Let's say mouse enter. and here what we need to do, we need to call the event on mouse enter, and then on mouse enter, if we need to change the background color, then we can change the background color. If we need to change the color of the text, yes, we can do it, but on hover, what I'm going to do, we are just going to add some border to the element. So what I will do, I'll add the styles. So let's say border color. Instead of default color, I will add another property here called border color, and this will be black by default. And when we will hover on the element, I will change the border to 1 pixel solid, and then the border color. This dot border color. Okay, now let's refresh the UI and hover on this element. You see border is changing, right? But when we are leaving the element, the border is not removing, right? So what I will do, I will add another event called mouse leave instead of mouse enter. So let's add mouse leave, and instead of mouse enter, let's say mouse leave, and this time the border will be none, right? So when we leave the element, there will be no border leave. You see it is affecting, right? So I think the border radius is more, so let's move it to 4 pixel and save the browser and hover. You see it's beautiful, right? Now let's say when we'll hover on the element, there will be a title, right? So how we can add the title? Yes, we can add the title. So what I will do, I'll add the title to the native element, right? When we'll hover on the element, let's say the title will be, click to view. So what we have here, we have post, right? So the title will be click to view the post. You can also make it dynamically. So let's say title as input property here, because we are not going to make it hard coded, because if we want to use this attribute for the other elements, then we can make it dynamic, right? So what I will do, I will provide the title from the element. So let's provide title from the element, and let's add the title here. Let's add the title, and we need to provide the title here, right? So let's add the title, and what will be the title? That title will be click to view the post, right? So let's add the title here, so that this will be dynamic. And then instead of this hard-coded title, I will provide the dynamic title. Refresh, and if we click on the element, you see we have this click to view the post title, right? Now you see there is no cursor, right? Cursor pointers. So what we can do, when we will hover on the element, we'll add the cursor. This dot native element dot style dot cursor, and the cursor will be pointer. Save the file, refresh the UI, hover on the element, you see cursor is pointer. So this is how we can use custom directives. Now if we want to add some style, if we want to add some class to the element when we will hover on the UI, then how we will do it? So what we can do, we can do it with the help of this dot this dot el dot native element dot class list dot add, and then we can provide the class name here. So let's say we want to add some class name here, so let's say some class. Okay, and when we'll remove the mouse from the element, we want to remove the class, right? Remove the class, save the file and refresh the UI and inspect the element, and I will inspect this category and I'm going to hover on the element, and let's check the class. So do we have any class called some class? So let's, yeah, we have this class blank here. Yeah, I think we are getting this some class here, and when we are removing the pointer, we are removing the class, right? So this is affecting, right? So this is good. We can also make this class dynamically, but right now we are not going to use it because we don't need this. But in your case, if you want to add some class dynamically, when you will hover on the element, you can add this in this way. Now I will tell you another thing. If you want to add some HTML content to the other element, so let's say when we will hover on this element, we want to add some text to other element, right? So let's say inside this span we have another span. So let's say we have another span, or yeah, let's say another span of class some class or some span, and let's add this some span inside all of the span. This is for the demonstration purposes. Okay, I'm just telling you what you can do with these custom directives. So I added the sum class sum span, I added a span with class sum span, right? Now when we will hover on the element, we are going to add some text or some other element inside this sum span element, right? So what I will do, I will create one custom element, and this time I am going to create the element with the help of renderer. So what is renderer? Renderer2. Renderer2 is a service which provides method like create element, create text, and append child and add class. Okay, that help us to query and manipulate the DOM elements in our Angular applications. So I will store the renderer2 to a variable called renderer, and this will be type of renderer2. Okay, now I'm going to create one element. Let's say cast element, and this will be this dot renderer2 or renderer dot create element, and I'm going to create one bold element, right? And then I'm going to add some HTML inside this element. So let's say custom element dot inner HTML, and let's say some text. Okay, and then with the help of renderer2 we can add the element. So this dot renderer2 or this dot renderer, where we store the renderer2, this dot renderer dot append child, and inside this append child we need to provide the element where we are going to add the element. So now I'm going to add the element inside this span of class sum span, right? So we need to get this span. So we can get this span with the help of this dot element dot native element dot this dot element dot native element, and then we need to call query selector, right? So query selector, and the selector name is class of span, right? So this will be this will be the element where we are going to add the element, and this will be the our custom element what we are going to include, right? So we are going to include this element inside this element. Okay, now save the file, and over on the category you see some text is adding, right? So this is the another operation we can do with the help of custom directives in Angular. You can also create custom structural directives, but this is the example of custom attribute directives. So that's it for custom directives. In the next lecture I am going to tell you about services in Angular. So stay connected.